Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I will just recite the Guru. You can remember your spiritual master, Param Pujya Radhanath Swami Maharaj, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Gaur Kishore, Bhakti Vinod, Baldev Jagannath, Vishwanath, Narottam, Krishnadas, Raghunath Jiv, Rup Sarup Sanatan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ishwarapuri, Nityananda Advaita, Madhvendrapuri, Lakshmipati, Vyastirtha, Brahmanya Tirtha, Purushottam, Jayadharma, Rajendra, Vidyanidhi, Dayanidhi, Jnana Sindhu, Jayatirtha, Akshobhya, Madhav, Hari, Padmanabh, Madhva, Vyas, Narad, Brahma, Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to Bhakti Vaibhav course. We are studying Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, and in that we are studying chapter number 8, prayers of Queen Kuntī. So in this chapter there are 3 things. First section we studied Parīkṣit Maharaj was saved in the Uttara. Secondly, now prayers of Kuntī Maharani, and finally the last one will be lamentation of Yudhisthira Maharaj. So I think last time, as you said, we were discussing verse number 36, right? Hare Krishna, how are you? Fine? How are you, all of you doing?
Yes, Prabhuji, fine.
It seems to be so much silence there on your side. All the festivals are over now. Now directly there will be a festival in the month of December, right? Book marathon. Now Bhadra Purnima is going on. Okay. So that's the part of Bhagavatam. So we are doing that. Discussing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Shrunuvanti gayanti grunanti abhikshana smaranti nandanti tave hitajana taveva pashyanti atirena tavakam bhava pravaha paramam padambujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Okay. So I think some few points we are yet to discuss from this purport, right?
I think Prabhuji, we have done this.
We have done this?
Yes, you also gave this heading to first how to see Lord by hearing from bona fide sources.
Second paragraph.
And second paragraph you gave heading as demon killing versus Ras Lila.
Okay. So I think then we have already...
37th, I think, yeah.
Yes. Now continuing from this, she is glorifying the devotional service of the Lord. From 36, she is giving the formula of how to become devoted to the Lord. And now in 37, she will further continue. Adyapyanastava sakrute ita prabho jihasasi svita suhuddo nanu jivina yesham na chanya adbhavat padambujat parayanam rajasuyojita hamsam. Yeah, can you read? Sanjay Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you living us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us?
Okay. So now from here actually, as we reach the culmination of these prayers, I think you have the breakup with you. This chapter's breakup. Anybody has in front of them the breakup? No, I think it's there in the WhatsApp. It's that. Okay, let me trace it out. Yeah. So this is section number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. This is the last verse of this section. I'll just repost it in the group so that you will get it again here and as well as in this chat. So this is the last verse of this section. You can see in the chat box. I've given you again the breakup of this chapter. You got it, no? Yeah. So this is 32 to 37. The unborn takes birth to end our rebirth. So this is the last verse. That's how the last verse also said, describing about the devotional service. And this 37th verse is ending with a prayer. Not that she wants the Lord to live, to remain with them, but to guide the devotee, guide them, and how to remain protected. You can give title to this purport. Dependence on the Lord is our constitutional position. Dependence on the Lord is our constitutional position. That's how this theme ends here. Prabhupada writes there in the page number 447. In the material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relation with the Lord, it is the most fortunate case when we can live completely dependent on Him. Why? Because that's our natural position. And we are not, when we are not situated like that, that's the most unfortunate situation. Why? Because if something is, suppose, that Prabhupada's Dharma, that the book Prabhupada has written based on the, I think, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam discourses. Prabhupada many times gives this example in his lectures also, that the dharma of the chili is to be pungent, the dharma of the sugar is to be sweetish, right? So the dharma of the living entity is to be servant. And actually to be dependent on the Lord means to be His servant. When we are dependent on Him means we are, because constitutionally we are meant to be His servant. And when we serve Him, naturally to serve the Lord, we have to be dependent on Him, right? When we want to serve Maya, then we have to be dependent on Maya, on her mercy. If if Durga is favorable to karmis, they can prosper. If she is not favorable, just like Prabhupada gives the example of in the purport only. Here somewhere in the middle, Prabhupada writes, the first attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement of experimental knowledge. See Prabhupada's words. choice of his words. So this is not advancement of knowledge, but this is advancement of experimental knowledge, because living entity has come here to experiment. You want to experiment, will that work? If I stay away from Krishna, will that work? So these are different experiments. The Prabhupada writes, the whole material world is moving on this false attempt of becoming independent of the laws of nature, beginning from Ravana, who wanted to prepare a direct staircase to the planets of heaven down to the present age. Yeah, he wanted to send everyone to the heaven without doing any punya karma. Right? And nowadays Prabhupada gives the parallel. Scientists are trying to go to the heavenly planets. I mean, of course, we may not directly criticize them openly, because that's a international competition going on between different nations. And so we would like to be in the front, to at least externally showcase that yes, we are also in that same, so they also may recognize, okay, you are also advancing nation, so you are also good. But speaking from scriptures, that is not possible. And if you go a little ahead in the purport, Prabhupada says that undoubtedly they were completely dependent about Pandavaji rights in the middle of the purport. You may not get it just here. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of the Lord Sri Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. Right? So, although, and therefore, if you see this prayer, and the theme I have given, actually, Kuntī Maharani, she is not actually forcing Lord to stay here, stay there in the Hastinapur. Through all her prayers, what she is meant, or what she is saying is, as you are, protecting us externally, please protect us, protect our consciousness also. Gradually, that theme will be at the end, because see, as we have already discussed many times, Lord Sri Krishna came, Ramchandra came, many incarnations of Lord, they came here. They did their work and they went back to Godhead, to their respective abodes. Then at the present we may say, where is the Lord? Where are his where is his mercy upon me? So we have to take it little deeply. It's not that Lord will always come to protect us, our bodies or our assets or our material properties, but he always comes to give a path by which he will protect us eternally, by protecting our consciousness. So here Kuntī Maharani actually, in the, I think before this or little ahead, she will say, I think in the, no, little ahead or before she said something. Little ahead she will say that even though you may have protected us now, but still there are many enemies. And material world is such place that you may solve one problem at one point of time, but there is no guarantee that your problem is now solved completely. The next problem will immediately come. Just like these soldiers, they may have now killed in the battlefield all the enemies, but their relatives are still there. Like Ashwathama, he was still there, right? So many soldiers, they are killed, but their relatives, their well-wishers, they are still there, and they will have enmity with them. So material world, you cannot have 100% problem-free place. Problems will always be there. Now we have to learn how to transcend them, because material level problems will always be there. So we have to have something which will help us to go beyond them, right? So therefore here Kuntī Maharani actually is saying that you guide us, that how we should remain protected, not just externally, but in our consciousness, right? Prabhupada, therefore he gives the example of these different, these Ravanas, and then he gives the example of Pandavas, and then Krishna Prabhupada says they were highly qualified both by personal character and by physical activity. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. So when Prabhupada is writing, still they were looked for the always looked for the mercy of the Lord. That mercy doesn't mean just external protection. That mercy means protecting at the level of consciousness also. Therefore, Prabhupada, little ahead, if you go, he gives the two more terms, anath and sanat. Prabhupada writes that those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called anath, or without any guardian, whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanat, those having someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanat so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable conditions of the material existence. By the deluding power of the external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. Right? And if you go little ahead, 448 page number, almost at the end of the purport, 4-5 lines, Prabhupada gives the example of a fish. For them, separation from the Lord was just like the separation of a fish from water. Srimati Kuntī Devi therefore felt such a separation like a thunderbolt, and the whole prayer of Queen Kuntī is to try to persuade the Lord to stay with them. And then in the last 3 lines, Prabhupada, it is not only the Pandavas who were put into the condition of enmity, but all of us are always in such condition. And the best way of living is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord and thereby overcome all difficulties of material existence. And then she will further refine these prayers. Now one may say, in the verse number, now 38, from 38 onwards, the next section will begin, 38 to 44. Devotional prayers take us towards pure devotion. And now in the 38 prayer, she will actually reveal that how they are always dependent on Lord. In fact, every one of us are dependent on the Lord only. We may say that we have so and so protection, means of protection, we have this insurance, this, so many things. But actually, you are the only one who is protecting us. So therefore she says, Kevayam nama rupabhyam yadobhi saha pandava bhavato adarshanam yarhi rishikenam iveshitu. Yeah, Rakshadavi Mataji, please read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
Uh,
At the name and the fame of the particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit. Similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities along with the Pandavas and Yadus will end at once. Hare
yeah,
Krishna.
yes, thank you. So one may say, why you are asking so much? You have, earlier also this thing was there that you have these powerful warriors with you, all the Pandavas. But actually, she says that they are just for the namesake. Even though they are there, even though we may have our guardians, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yogakshamam Mahamiyam. And we also say that our Yogakshama is done by our parents, our nation, our government, and this and that. Actually, we are not aware that this Yogakshamam is done by Krishna through his representatives. So we may have our parents, so we may have our well-wishers, guides. They are all representatives of Krishna. They are doing our Yogakshamam on behalf of Krishna. If Krishna decides that tomorrow I don't want to maintain this particular living entity, then nobody can maintain them. Just like Prahlad Maharaj says in his prayers that Balasya Neha Sharanam, that verse in the 7th canto, he says that if the child is not protected, he gives the example of two children. Both are admitted in the hospital, and one is admitted in the hospital and one is not admitted in the hospital. The child who is admitted in the hospital is given good treatment, all good medicines. But if Krishna decides that he should not live, then he cannot live. And the one who is on the streets is without any medicines, without any care. If Krishna wants him to survive, he will survive. Because that's the this arrangement, this system is made by the Lord only. So we may say that Just like here Kuntī Maharani is saying that as this names and fames of particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly you do not look upon all of us, then we are finished. Actually, everything is prospering by the mercy of the Lord, right? You can give title to this purport. Without Lord's guidance, everything results in frustration. Without Lord's guidance, everything results in frustration. So you can see the big empires in the bygone ages, beginning from even the Vedic times, the Ravanas, the Hiranyakashipu, Shishupal, Kamsa, they all had big empires. They may have the prosperity for some time by the mercy of the material energy, but eventually that results in frustration only. Frustration for themselves, frustration for the whole society. Now, therefore, in the current time also you can see, you may say the civilization which is godless is being prosperous, but the result is utter frustration in all of them, right? Unless there is a mercy of the Lord, the things will not satisfy the heart. It is not the things that satisfy the heart, but how these things are utilized. And basically, just like we say in the devotional service, action is not important, but the intention behind the action is important, right? Just doing action is not important. We may hear Bhagavatam, we may chant, we may do many services, but what is your intention behind that? What you want to derive out of that? That is even more critical. So here Prabhupada writes, Kuntī Devi is quite aware that the existence of the Pandavas is due to Sri Krishna only. Not just Pandavas, then for all of us. The Pandavas are undoubtedly well established in the name and fame and are guided by the great king Yudhisthira, who is morality personified, and the Yadus are undoubtedly great allies. But without the guidance of the Lord Krishna, all of them are non-entities, as much as the senses of the body are useless without the guidance of the consciousness. No one, then therefore Prabhupada wants, no one should be proud of his prestige, power and fame without being guided by the favor of the Supreme Lord. And that's what we miss. Because that's the power of Maya. When we have things, we become proud. When we don't have, we beg to the Lord. Actually, we are always materialistic. Either we are asking the Lord or whether we are receiving. When we are asking, at that time also we are materialistic, we are asking for us. And when we receive, we become proud. See, I got this. So both the cases, unless we have expert guidance of the devotees, we are defeated in our purpose of life. Prabhupada writes that we may therefore invent by our advancement of material knowledge all sorts of counteracting material resources, but without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. However strong and stout the reactionary elements may be. So now what happens is, in the modern time, we may think that we have developed these gadgets, these technologies, and so many things. But actually, just like you may have the knife, right? You may have the knife, but the knife should be, you should be trained for what purpose it should be used. If you have a weapon or anything, that can be used positively or negatively. So if you have a knife, you may get trained to cut the vegetables, or you may murder someone else, right? And if the consciousness is not properly situated, then anything can be potentially hazardous for our consciousness. Now in the modern time, just like you see, the internet is the most sophisticated, highly useful for means of communication, right? Even we are conducting these courses through this. Is the best use of, but it can become the worst if not guided by proper expert sadhus. You all know how it can be misused. So unless we have the mercy of the devotees of the Lord, we are baffled, because after all, this is the energy. Energy can be used positively, can be used negatively, right? So at every step of life, we need the guidance, mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, everything will end in, just like Prabhupada says, without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. No one should be proud of such prestige, power. Should always consult. And therefore, Prabhupada's, this system of giving this, his purports and this arrangement of the association of the devotees is such a, wonderful boon and blessings on all of us. Without that, I don't think we would have ever survived. Even when we begin chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. To begin everything is very easy, but to sustain that and maintain that for a long period of time is really a work to be done in the mode of goodness. That's why Lord Vishnu is the maintainer of this universe. He's not the creator. He is creator, but then he gives that job to Brahmaji. But he personally takes the charge of maintenance, because maintenance is the most difficult. Why? Because that needs goodness, and goodness comes only when we are connected to uh, like the Prabhupada created the system of association of this devotees, and we have so many rules and regulations like that. So therefore, Kunti Maharani, and here the specific word used, Vayam, verse number 38. Yeah, where is that word? Yeah, K Vayam Nam Rupabhyam. By this word, Vayam means actually she is addressing not just Kaurava Pandavas, but Yadus also, because she is related to both of them, no? Yadus and Kauravas. So therefore, she is actually in the dual mind. That if I say Krishna to stay here, then Krishna will feel separation from Yadus. So now she's kind of gradually will reveal in the later verses that please cut my attachment, his family affections. Even as a devotee, if we are materially attached, it's not good for Krishna consciousness. That we'll clarify later a little bit. Now next verse. Now after this, now someone may say that you are saying like this, that without you nothing is prosperous, but your kingdom is prosperous. Someone say, the 39 verse. Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathedani gadadhara tavat pader ankita bhati svalakshana vilikshite. Yeah. Gandhi Prabhu, can you read?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम। ट्रांसलेशन बाय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। O Gadadhar Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impression of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now she is recognizing that why this land is prosperous, because it is marked with your footprints. You can read the purport, but I'll just read one line here. In the last, Kuntī Devi pointed out, last line, Kuntī Devi pointed out these distinguished features and was afraid of ill luck in the absence of the Lord. As long as the Lord is present, there is a auspiciousness. As soon as the Lord leaves, there is inauspiciousness. As soon as you stop chanting Hare Krishna, then you realize who you are. If you want to know yourself, your good qualities, then you should not just stop, but dilute your chanting. The day you dilute your chanting, you will realize, oh my God, I am a demon number one. You can experience that when you are sick. Actually, last, I think 1 month back, I was sick with malaria. So I was bedridden for almost 1 week. And chanting 16 rounds, I would take almost 6 hours to complete. Just on the bed, chanting. And that was the most pathetic chanting. And when you are sick, Then you feel the, that is there someone to care for me? Is someone coming to talk to me? And generally, to sick people, what others may talk, they get bored, so they want to just carry on with their work. So hardly, few devotees, they will just come for some time, 2-3 minutes, they will speak something, they will go, and they feel that I need to give good rest to the Prabhu, but Prabhu is feeling there, and that kind, in those days, I was just experiencing, all the material desires, they will just pop up like anything, because the quality, as soon as the quality of your sadhana goes down, then all our, at this point of time, what has happened? Our anarthas have not vanished. They are not purified. They are still there on the subconscious mind. At the level of conscious mind, they have, they have just not disappeared, but they have a little bit checked. As soon as you dilute your chanting or stop your regular sadhana, they will just pop up. And they come with, such a great force. And that time, no Mangalarti, no Bhagavatam class, no, good association. When you are sick, you can't attend all those things, morning program items, elements. Then just you're at the mercy of your, few so-called chanting. That's not chanting actually, but just chanting somehow. So therefore, you can, imagine here, Prabhupada is, giving this. Kuntī Maharani is afraid of ill fortune or ill luck in the absence of the Lord. And then she says further in the 40th verse, Ime janapada asruddha supakva aushadhi vriddha vanadri udanvato modante tava vikshite. Yeah, Vrindalila Mataji, can you read? Verse number 40.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pradam. Ime janapada smriddha supakavaushadhi viruddha vanadrinadi udanvanto yadyanate tava vikshitai. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you. So Krishna, the prosperity is not independent of Krishna. Kuntī Maharani is highlighting the reality of our prosperity. But we are so fool and we are so ignorant. In the current time, we think that we have developed so many gadgets, currencies, so many buildings and this and that. We may think that this is the prosperity. But actually, if there is no water, there is no grain, right? Without grain, there is no energy for the human body to work. Without that, how can you work? How can you develop all these things? You may say, I have developed this, gadget or this building or this highway. All these things are glamorized, right? That we have developed these big, big roads, big, transport means, and so forth. But if you just remove one element, water, that comes by the mercy of the Lord. That's it. If there is no water, there is no grain, there is no food, your survival is finished. But we are so ignorant, and so we are so misinformed. Actually, our education system is so corrupted. Our education system, they glorify the deeds of the scientist, that this scientist developed this scientist developed that. But we should better qualify, in one lecture, Radha Govind Maharaj, he says that actually, whenever we manufacture something, we write down, write made in China, made in India, made in US, made in Taiwan, made in this, made in that. Maharaj says we should write made by God. And that's how we are accumulating our karma, thinking ourselves to be the cause of this, doer of particular work. Actually, everything is done by the Lord. Without His mercy, we cannot survive. Right? Therefore, we have to recognize the hand of the God. That's what Kuntī Maharani is saying here. You can give purport to this title verse. Nature's prosperity is by grace of God. Not just nature, but all the prosperity is by the grace of God. And Prabhupada's purport is very brilliant. Prabhupada writes, human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts. See, even at the end of the day, you may be working in an MNC 12 hours or 13 hours. At the end of the day, what do you need? Tell me, what do you need? On what you are dependent? Yeah, tell me. You're allowed to speak now. The mic.
Prabhuji, nice food and rest.
Yes. Krishna, he has not created the appetite in your stomach. If he doesn't give appetite in your stomach, you can't eat. Forget about Krishna creating the grains and the rain. Even if Krishna, makes some little bit disorder in your stomach, and if there is no, day and night system, Gaur Krishna Maharaj in one lecture he says that if there are no days and night, human being will die just by working. Because there is night, we stop our work and come to the rest. Because body demands the rest, and therefore we give pause to our work and then they go to the rest. Otherwise, if such system was not created by Lord, actually you will die just by working. Because the greed is so much. All the time we want, accommodate more. And Prabhupada says the gigantic industrial enterprises are products of godless civilization. However, we may glamorize, but when we see through the eyes of sadhus and shastras, the real picture of our advancement is seen. And they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. Human life is not meant to work like an ass, right? It's to be utilized wisely. Because once the chance is taken away, you don't know when it will be given back. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general. And that's what's happening. People think that I have this, facility and that facility, I will be happy. Facilities doesn't make you happy. They are just conveniences. You may be convenient, but not happy. You may be having the convenience of having, luxury car, luxury apartment, and so many good things, but it doesn't guarantee happiness, because happiness comes only when you are connected with the Supreme Lord. Although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation, and that's also a fact. The natural gifts such as grains and vegetables, fruits, rivers, the hills of jewels and minerals, and the seas full of pearls are supplied by the order of the Supreme Lord and his desires. Material nature produces them in abundance or restricts them at the time. Like that. So like that, Prabhupada proceeds ahead. I'll just read in between somewhere in the middle of the purport. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reactions of such exploitative attempts. So actually everything is because of our problem is because of greed only, right? If we all decide to become satisfied with simple living, simple means whatever necessary for you. So for someone, maybe he may be habituated to live in a luxury apartment. Somebody may be habituated to live in a hut, and that is convenience. Not that I'm saying that from tomorrow you should abandon your apartments and go to the street. My point to say is, we should try to get whatever is necessary, not beyond that. Kamasam indriya priti labo jiveta yavata jivasa tattva jigyasa. Our life is meant for tattva jigyasa, and as long as we are not connected to the sadhus and not connected to the scriptures, we are definitely going to miss this, because the arrangement of this world is such that you will always be overpowered by the mode of passion and ignorance. It is only in the mode of goodness you will realize, oh my God, where I'm going. I needed this much, but I'll ended up getting, trying to get this much. For what? And Prabhupada many times in his lectures, he says that we're trying to accumulate things, thinking that my son or my grandson, he will utilize them. But what about you? In your attempt to give them, actually, it's better that you, give them training that you earn on your own, not, try to give them unnecessary. By that, they will become, spoiled. If everything is given ready-made, then what happens? Then you just, get into bad habits. If your father or, if somebody is dependent on you, suppose, say, for example, you have a son in your, or a daughter. If you give them, everything, just you take it whatever you want. I am earning for you only, Baba. I am working 24 hours for whom? You only take. Then what happens? There is no gratitude only. See, therefore, there is a system of sacrifice in the universe. Whatever you want to get, you get through sacrifice. If you get anything without sacrifice, then that will become the cause of bandhan. Yadnartat karmato. What is the number of that verse? 3 point. You are forgetting all Bhagavad Gita. Yadnartat karmano anyatra. What is that? Yeah. Okay. Yes. So anything that is not, received through the process of sacrifice is going to become the cause of bondage, because that is not received with gratitude. So we are just now, broadening this term sacrifice. Means whatever you want to get it, you get by your, work, hard work, or whatever required work, not just, like a Ugra Karma. So therefore, Prabhupada here says that if we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what is the necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? A man need not kill an animal if he has sufficient grains and vegetables. The flow of river waters fertilizes the field, and there is more than what we need. Actually, our problem is we want things which are not produced by nature. Why? Because whatever is produced within the nature is not so much, passionate actually. Artificial things which are produced, they create a lot of mode of passion, isn't it? Just like you have, you may have this electricity. In the previous ages, they would, like the simple Prabhupada in one conversation, he says that if there's a castor oil plant, through that you can lit the lamp and you can solve your problem of light, But then you may think, okay, now I may, have this simple, tube light. But to get that tube light, how much you have to go through? Have you ever realized that? Now it is different for us that we are utilizing it in Krishna's service. That is different thing, because we are guided by Rupa Goswami, Yukta Vairagya. But those who are not, then previously people used to sleep at 6, 7 p.m. in the night. Now because that is there, they are awake whole night. And that's how it just is the beginning of, downfall of, human habits. Then everything goes, topsy-turvy. Just small random examples I'm giving. And that's how Prabhupada concludes that the last 2-3 line Prabhupada writes, the indication by Kuntī Devi are just to the point. She desires that God's mercy be bestowed upon them so that natural prosperity be maintained by His grace. So this is the take-home message, that whatever is there by the mercy of the Lord. Now, in the 41st verse, she will little, try to broaden her perspective of asking mercy for Pandavas and Yadus. She will say, Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Sukeshu me Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. Yeah. Who will like to read? Those who are not visible here? Those who are avyakta?
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Mohit Shastri Prabhuji, please read it.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay. So now, after offering all these prayers, expressing Krishna that for what purpose you came here, what is your aim. Now, every devotee, he sometime, see Prabhupada in the purpose, in the beginning only he writes, a pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord. But the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord. Is that right? So a sannyasi or a brahmachari may ask for the whole world. At the most, he may ask for his counsels or his disciples. But in general, those who are not attached to this world, they can ask for the whole world, right? Just like we have Prime Minister right now, or the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Why they are able to do so much for the society? Why? Because they don't have, anyone to look for. I want to say they do have, but they have decided that, okay, my lifestyle is such and such, and I'm meant to work for the whole society in general, not just for few section of people or few, members of my so and so family. But Prabhupada do recognizes this here that the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, but and that is being bound by the tie of family affection. Naturally, you will pray more for your son than for the neighbor's son, right? If the exam is going on, Vrindanila Mataji, you have questions, we can take it later, little later, okay? So it's natural that you may have, suppose there is an exam going on and your kid's exam is going on. Naturally, you will pray for your kid, not for the whole school. Let all the children pass this exam and come with excellent grades. This may come little later as you realize I'm asking for my family. Just like Kuntī Maharani here, gradually her prayer will broaden. So Prabhupada here says that Srimati Kuntī Devi was conscious of this fact and therefore she prayed to the Lord to cut off the affectionate tie from her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. So therefore she says, Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman, you are not just my Lord, but you are Lord of the entire universe. So you are meant to do good for everyone, right? So now, does that mean that she wants to, now these Pandavas and Yadus, they are not ordinary people, they are devotees. So is that she wants to cut off association of the devotees? No, she wants to remain in the association of devotees, but because she is connected to them through some relationship, with the body, because they are born from her, and Yadus, they are related to, through some other distant relationship, but still they are related to them through body. So sometimes a devotee may ask, but then to the Lord, but then this may be like any other person asking, just like it may appear like a self-centered request. That whatever is around me, I'm asking for them. Are you getting the point? So it's not wrong to ask to the Lord that please take care of my son, that his health may remain good, he may come out with excellent grades. So you may ask, because that's natural. Because if we don't ask to Krishna, then who may ask? We are dependent on Krishna. But then that should not become the cause of your actually Kuntī Maharani. Therefore, in the next verse, she will even broaden that completely. So, if you are trying to love Krishna, and at the same time we are trying to love our husband or wife or son or daughter, so we may ask for them few things, but it should not happen that while thinking about Krishna, they are coming, or I can't say that that word, but I mean, how do you say that? I mean, you should not get offended. So, something like, yeah, if we love Krishna, say for example, if you love Krishna and your husband or wife, they also love Krishna, then they will tell you. And most of the time it happens that if someone is on the deathbed, purposefully the spiritual master will instruct the relatives of that, person who is on the deathbed, spiritual or Guru Maharaj, whoever is with us, they will say that please don't go near to him. You heard that? Why? Because at the time of death, he needs to remember Krishna, not you. So it's not bad that if he remembers you, it's going to become a disaster for him. You are a devotee, he or she also devotee. They should, but especially it is told to those who are relatives that even if you are going, be careful. Why? Because if you are related to them in a bodily relationship, they should not think you in that way. Oh, my, husband or my wife, she's there, and it should not get attached to them in that way. Because ultimately, it may be a affection, but that affection should not distract us or distract anyone from reaching Krishna. Because the best welfare or the best thing, if you love someone, you can do for them is you connect them to Krishna. Right? Not connect to you. And most of the time we fail in that. Even if you have some counselees, you have some mentees or whatever we have, our job is not to connect them to our service. Sometimes we mistake that, and that what Krishna wants again and again. There are many pastimes of Prabhupada. Through this pastime, Prabhupada is warning all of us always that these devotees, they have not come here or joined to serve you. They have joined to serve Krishna. So for them it is, they are going to serve you. But for you, it's not that they are coming to serve you. They are coming to serve Krishna. And as long as you are serving Krishna, they can assist you in serving Krishna. That's why Prabhupada used to say, Prabhupada used to say that, actually Prabhupada in few occasions on one of the Vyas Pujas, he actually cried. He said that, my Guru Maharaj, he has sent all of you to assist me in his mission. That's the mood of a spiritual master, and that should be the mood of anyone. Because, it's not that you have to be a spiritual master or big guru to have. Even if you are a family member, still you have someone who is dependent on you, right? So you should not think that, oh, he's meant to serve me or he's dependent on me. He's not dependent on you, Baba. He's dependent on Krishna. And you are facilitating that. As soon as you become you think that he's dependent on me. Yeah, he's dependent on you. But you should take it in a way that through Krishna he's dependent on me, not through me. As soon as we think he's dependent on me, I am doing everything for me, then we think I deserve. Then he should do this for me, he should respect me, he should do this, that. And if he doesn't do, he's not a good counselor. He's not a good disciple. Why? Because he's not giving me my certification. That will happen. So here Kuntī Maharani, actually she is not saying that I want to cut off my attachment or association to the devotees. I want to cut off my self-centered attachment to them. That's what I want to remove, because that is becoming an obstacle. Because she's thinking, Pandavas, they are related to me, so Krishna, please stay here. If you stay here, we will be protected, there will be good fortune. But what about Yaduts? So if you ask Krishna to stay with you, then you are depriving other devotees Krishna's association, right? Just like to spiritual master, if you say, no, you should always stay with me only, then that's a sense gratification. Prabhupada used to say that these bugs are very close to me. These mosquitoes, they are very close to me, but their job is just biting me. They're just beating. So now, as we move ahead in the next verse, she will offer a beautiful prayer. She says, Toi me ananya vishaya natir madhu pratiskrut ratim udvahat adda gangai vadvahum gangai ogamam uduvanti. Yeah. Can you read, Rakshadavi Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
O Lord of Madhu, as the Gangas forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Let's take Vrindavan Lila Mataji's question, otherwise she will, will not be so happy. Where is the Zoom? Actually, my computer. What happened to the Zoom? Yeah, here is. So, what is her chat? Many times we replace Krishna with our relatives. Instead of Krishna occupying the center stage, it is our relatives. Yeah, true. Even what happens, I will tell you the experience of my ashram life. I have seen devotees, few times it happened, 7-8 years back. So one brahmachari was there. So for some reason he left the ashram. He changed the ashram and he went to the Grihastha ashram. So the other devotees who were staying with him, they started, 1 or 2 devotees, they were crying like anything. I was new there. I was very new that time. I said, come on, why you are so attached? So of course, the crying can be interpreted in 2 ways. Either you are crying because you will miss the association of the devotee. But in what sense? That you have to clarify. You may miss him because he was very helpful for you to perform your devotional service. He was encouraging you. You were chanting with him. You were doing so many services together. So you may miss that and then you may cry. But you may also cry because, oh, that devotee was, bringing so much Mahaprasad for me. He would help me, I mean, you can give any random examples. So there is a material connection and there is a spiritual connection with the devotees. We are always related in these 2 aspects. So if some devotees we are connected, not any devotees, we may have connection with them at the material level. Why? Because this devotee does a lot of prajalpa with me, so I like it. And as soon as he goes away, I have no means of doing time pass. But in the real sense, we may be fearful that, oh, that devotee is going away. So from tomorrow, with whom I will do Krishna Katha? Who will look after me? That whether I am chanting nicely, I am getting it from Mangalarti. This is the real care, and we should cry for that. Not that because that devotee was, fulfilling my material desires, and from tomorrow he is not there, so I'm also going to live. And actually, this happens many times. That because this devotee left Krishna consciousness, so I'm also living. Therefore, Prabhupada always emphasizes on the Vani and not on the Vapu. Because after Prabhupada's departure, many Prabhupada disciples left. Prabhupada already warned them, don't be attached with the Vapu. So all glories to them. They have done tremendous, wonderful services which we cannot do even millions of lifetimes. We can't do that. But for us, Prabhupada always give this understanding that be attached to Vani, not to the Vapu. Because Vani is eternal. Gopu is not eternal. At least the physical appearance at the material level is not eternal. So as long as we are attached to body, that body is going to be separated from us. Even our relatives and every one of us, we are going to be separated from each other at one point of time. So better we not become attached to each other at material plane, but become attached at the spiritual level. And as soon as we become attached to spiritual level, we're always together. Prabhupada used to say, you are in India, I am in US. You are chanting Hare Krishna, I am chanting Hare Krishna. We are connected. Does that make sense? No. How does that make sense? You may say, he's chanting Hare Krishna there, I am chanting Hare Krishna. What is that? But that is a different level of frequency you need to catch. And if you can catch that, you're always connected with each other. Right? So Kuntī Maharani, therefore, I actually in the previous verse purport, Prabhupada gives 2-3 examples of broadening our field of activities. Because as long as we are just thinking about our own counselees or our own children's, we cannot think about the whole world. We cannot become broad-minded. So he gives the example of 6 Goswamis, he gives the example of Prabhu Ramchandra. He even abandoned his wife. For what? To set an example that I do care for you also. Not just for my immediate family. Prabhupada there in the last purport writes, last para. Kuntī Devi was conscious of this fact, and being weak, she prayed to be freed from such bondage of family affection. We can become attached at any level. Do not think that my Prabhu is chanting Hare Krishna, I am chanting Hare Krishna, so we are very good devotees. You do not know. You may become attached at material level, and at the time of death, it will be severely tested. Whether at the time of death you remember Hare Krishna or you remember your. So it's not bad to remember the devotees, but in what sense we remember the devotees, that is important. We may just remember, oh, he was my husband, she was my wife, I am feeling separation, now she will be away from me. So that kind of attachment is definitely going to cause a great distraction in your Krishna consciousness. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe, of the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his all-powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity towards a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all-powerful energy, like what he did in the case of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was thinking, I'll do good business, I'll earn a lot of money, and I will then do prachar. But then Krishna didn't want that way to go. So at one point of time, he arranged the situation in such a way that his own family members, they will reject him. And Krishna took it, Prabhupada took it as the mercy of the Lord. That can happen only when we are connected with our spiritual master, connected in his Vani, connected through Shastra. Otherwise, every situation we have in our life, we can interpret it materially or spiritually. We may say, I am a Hare Krishna devotee and Krishna is doing so much injustice to me. But you have to understand, Krishna is always all good. He is always auspicious. Whether he kills, whether he has to survive, or whatever he does. Even if Krishna comes tomorrow and he says, take this poison, you should be ready. Yes, Krishna, give me. Are you ready? Of course, that's a very, very high level of surrender. I'm definitely not anywhere, very close to that. I'm just repeating what I am hearing. But actually, that's what the situation of life is. If Krishna comes tomorrow, he says, "Oh Prabhu, come, let's go back to Godhead." No, Krishna, I can't go now. Why? I have so many followers here. I have so much prestige in the society. I have so many things that gratifying my senses. Going back to Godhead means leaving everything. No? I can't leave them right now. I'm attached to them. Right? So it's a very difficult thing actually. Going back to Godhead is not a simple thing. We may very easily say, we will go back to Godhead. What does it mean? We have to realize that. And what price we have to pay for that. So therefore she says, yeah, did I give you the title for the previous purport? Verse number 41st. Yeah. So for no. Broadening the activities of welfare. Broadening the activities of welfare. Broadening the activities of welfare. And the 42nd verse, you can give title Purifying Desires. Purifying Desires. So what desire is to be purified? Kuntī Maharani is saying that let my consciousness, let my mind may flow towards you just like Ganges flows without any hindrances. Right? So Chakravarti Pad, he says that when a river goes to ocean, the river doesn't hold anything, any water back. Have you seen any river flowing? She will no, few water. I need to hold back some water and let go. This much water. No, everything just flows and flows and flows. With a great force towards the ocean. So like that, she is giving this analogy example that let my consciousness not just be restricted or diverted by my relatives, even though they are devotees. So actually this devotee sometimes becomes a license. Oh, he is a devotee, she is a devotee. So he may be devotee, she may be devotee, that's okay, but in what context you are attached to them has to be defined. Right? Are you all okay? Not okay. Prabhupada actually was approached by one man. I told you earlier. His book name was I am okay, you are okay. So Prabhupada said you are not okay. Why? Because you are not serving Krishna. I am okay because I am serving Krishna. So as long as we are not connected to Krishna through pure devotional service, through that sentiment, we are really not okay. Even though we may be practicing devotee, we may be whatever, we are not okay. We cannot become okay until and unless we have a pure desire within our heart. So you may say, Prabhu, now we don't have to be pure. What pure? We are even below Sakam Bhaktas. So that's okay, but at least aspiration should be that. Like Kuntī Maharani here she's saying, that Prabhupada writes that perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted towards the transcendental loving service of the Lord. All attention means everything, 101%. If your plane is moving, even a small degree of deviation can take you to different direction, isn't it? It's going off track. So and this is just material example. Consciousness is so finer and finer and subtle. Smallest distraction can land you somewhere else. And it begins with the small distraction. For Bharat Maharaj, it began with small distraction, smallest. He thought, let me help the deer. And that was the beginning. Of course, in his case, that was the lack of association of devotees. If some devotees are there, they would have at least informed Bharat Maharaj that Prabhu, the deer is becoming very dear to you. Actually, Krishna should become dear to you. You are supposed to worship Shaligram, supposed to feed him, not the deer. Deer is deer. He will have his own karma and he will do his things. By nature's arrangement, he has his own system of getting his needs fulfilled. You don't have to become the doer of that. Bharat Maharaj thought that he is the doer. He is the karta. He is the maintainer of that deer. Whatever basic minimum, see, even in our life also, at certain age, that's why this system of varnashram is so systematically arranged. At age of 50, we should decide enough is enough. But till the end of life, I should not keep maintaining. Arey Baba, kya hoga mere bachche ka? Now he is grown up, Baba. Leave him. Now he needs different care. He needs more care by his wife, not by you. If you try to interfere, you will become enemy. The nature's arrangement is like that, but still we become, adamant. No, he can't survive without. Arey Baba, he's not now Mama's kid. It's someone else. Now someone else will take his care. You are supposed to retire. Get away from that place. And start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's what happened to Dhritarashtra. Na? Dhritarashtra, even though his 100 sons were killed, still he was living at the mercy of his, not enemies. Bhima and all those, they were his, they were treating him like his father only. But Dhritarashtra should have understood. These are the people whom we try to kill, and we are living at their mercy. So living entity can become so shameless, at the and therefore Prabhupada used to say that we need Vidura in every home, because there is Dhritarashtra in every home nowadays. They feel that I am the doer till the end of the life. Why? Get out from that place now and try to perfect your life. So Kuntī says here, and her prayer is actually, as I said earlier, it's not just external but internal. That let Krishna not just be present here and protect us, but please descend in my heart. Most of the time, generally we do DT welcoming, and we bring so many things to the home. Actually, when DTs we bring home, we should pray along with they descend in your home, they should descend in your heart. Because once they descend in your heart, that's the permanent place they can occupy. Because your home and all that may not be a permanent place for them, It will keep changing, situation may keep changing, your body will keep changing, But once they occupy a place in your consciousness, then they are eternally with you. So Kuntī here prays. She's praying that no external circumstances such as your departure from our vicinity, let it not cause you to disappear from our life or my consciousness. And my consciousness, let it flow without any, hindrances like Ganges towards you, without any obstacle. Even my relatives, even the Yadus or the Pandavas, they are good devotees. They are my, relatives. But they should not distract me in a materialistic way from coming towards him. So Prabhupada, of course, in the purport writes that desires have to be purified. We cannot give up desire. Desire is the symptom of the living entity. Prabhupada writes a living being, whoever he may be, is the third and fourth line. The living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others, because this is the symptom of life. The symptom of life, such as desire, anger, hankering, feeling of attraction, cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desires cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desire is changed only for the service of the Lord, in place of desire for sense gratification. The so-called affection for family, society, country, etc. consists of different phases of sense gratification. When this desire is changed for the satisfaction of the Lord, it is called devotional service. If you go to the 454 page, in the purport, in the middle, Prabhupada writes, therefore, the prayers of Kuntī also indicate the same categorical changes in activities. Srimati Kuntī wanted to serve the Lord without diversion, and that was her prayer. This unavoided devotion is the ultimate goal of life. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of Lord. The Prabhupada's purports are such a choice of words. This programming word may have been used, in the current time, programming, software programming, but I don't think in those times so much usage of this word was there, programming. How Prabhupada is writing. When the program is changed into service of the Lord, that is to say, the senses are purified in relation with the service of the Lord, it is called the unavoided devotional service. Srimati Kuntī Devi wanted the perfection and prayed for it from the Lord. Right. Of course, then Prabhupada in the next paragraph clarifies that sometimes service to the devotees is more valuable than service to the Lord. But in what sense? Service to the devotee is for the sake of service to the Lord, not to the service of the devotees in a materialistic way. right? But here, the affection of Kunti Devi for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis was due to family relation. Prabhupada is clarifying. This tie of affection in terms of material relation is the relation of Maya, because the relation of the body or the mind are due to the influence of the external energy. That's what this is a Prabhupada's purpose. They just pierce through. So in the name of devotional service, anything and everything we can't rationalize, right? So this is a very, very critical section here. When Kunti Devi, Prabhupada writes, relation of the soul established in the relation with the supreme soul are actual factual relations. When Kunti Devi wanted to cut off the family relation, she meant to cut off the relation of the skin. The skin relation is the cause of material bondage, but the relation of the soul is the cause of freedom. This relation of the soul to the soul can be established by the via medium of relationship with the Supreme. Seeing in the darkness is not seeing, but seeing by the light of the sun means to see the sun and everything else which was unseen in the darkness. That is the way of devotional service. What a purport. So yes, something like that. So let my attachment not hold back me from coming towards you. Let my attraction flow towards you and not to anyone else, even though they may be devotees. So you can remember devotees, you can pray to the devotees, you can have good relationship with the devotees, but in a complete spiritual sense. Anything, even a small tinge of materialism that comes in our relationship, that will be the cause of great, bondage. So something like that. I think we'll stop here. So not much syllabus is left out here. For till 53 verses ahead do not have much purport. We can cover them easily in just 15-20 minutes in the coming sections classes. Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, Vrindavanila Mataji, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have two doubts, Prabhu. One is in the previous verses there was an analogy of Malaya Chandanam with the Lord appearing in the Yadu dynasty. Can you please explain that analogy, Prabhu? I'm not able to clearly appreciate it.
Okay. Anyone would like to try here? The devotees who are hearing the classes? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, you had explained that just as the sun, which rises from the east, does not become the sun of the east. Here, first word sun is sun, and the second word sun, which I'm using, is son. Same way, just because Lord, the Chandan is available, manifested in this Malaya hills, that doesn't mean that Chandan becomes Chandan can be grown anywhere you expect. And that same analogy, these two, you applied it to Lord Krishna, that just being born by the Yadu dynasty, he doesn't become a Yadu. Correct?
Yes, he's not just a Yadu. The same thing Kunti Maharaj is expanding here gradually. Tata Vishvesa Vishwatman. That you are not just the Lord of my Lord. You are the Lord of entire universe. So actually in your prayer you should pray. So of course this will take some time. When we pray that let my son or my relative or so and so, they may be well situated in their life. Actually we should pray for the entire universe, entire creation. That let all living beings, living entities get your mercy, O my Lord. Isn't it? You got it, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Like I was not able to get that connection, Prabhu.
But you got it now.
No, I'm still not so clear. Like Malaya is famous for its sandalwood.
Yeah. See, Malaya, why do you say Malaya Chandan? Why can't you say just Chandan? Why? Because it grows in Malaya. That's why you say Malaya. Because that Malaya Chandan that prominently grows in Malaya, that's why it says Malaya Chandan.
Yes.
Just like you say, how do you say? Yeah, Jagannath. Prabhupada used to say, Jagannath is not Odiyanath. He is Jagannath.
Yes.
He is not, just kept within the temple of Jagannath. He is the Lord of Universe. Right? So there, Kuntī or Prabhupada want to say that Lord Krishna, because he appeared in the Yadu dynasty, that doesn't mean that he's just a Yadu.
Yes.
This is our understanding. He is not the Yadu. He is Supreme Lord.
Yes.
Just because he appeared in Yadu dynasty, that doesn't mean that we say Yadu. He's not Yadu. He's one among the Yadus, but he's the Lord of the entire universe. Isn't it? Yeah.
Is it? Yes. Yes. One aspect is clear.
Yeah.
Is it possible? I'm just speculating, Prabhu. Is it possible that the way sandalwood is, it cannot grow at every place? There are certain things, certain atmospheric conditions which are favorable for its growth.
Yeah.
Then same way, since we know that there have been devotees who observed severe penances which made Krishna get attracted to them, appear as their son. So is it something like that also? Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so many
Like that,
thoughts are
yeah.
coming to my head.
Like that also. But still that, there is some deep philosophical point. There, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna is how transcendental. There Krishna's transcendence is established.
Okay, okay.
Are you getting me? Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Second question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, we were talking about attachments and ties. It's so difficult when it comes to our ties with devotees. Like with others, we know, okay, fine, it's not helping me in my devotional service, so I have to keep myself limited without making our heart devoid of compassion towards them. Like compassion has to be there for each and every soul. But then attachment is different. But when we are dealing with devotees, the line is so thin. It gets very, very difficult. And I was reading sometime like Tamal Krishna Maharaj's relationship with his friend Vishnu Jana Maharaj. And at one point he asked Prabhupada also, like, can I go to him? I'm missing him so much. Am I getting attached? And then Prabhupada allowed him to go. He said, no, it's just fine with devotees. But then with devotees also, we can have attachments. We never know. Like as we see in the pastime of Shivji and Sati, there I remember, like I don't remember the verse, but I remember one line from the purport wherein Prabhupada says, like Sati was attached to Shivji, and that is why she attained the abode of Shiva. She did not go to Golok Vrindavan as such. She went to the lok of Shivji, and she is not an ordinary person, but still her attachments are taking her only until there. Then how do we discriminate whether I'm actually attached to this devotee or I'm having that kind of, flourishing spiritual relationship with him? Especially when we are staying as a family, it gets so difficult to discriminate. So what should be the criteria to discriminate?
Yeah, at my level, I don't have much experience of dealing with the families and
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
but
I know
can,
you're saffron clad and I'm asking
no,
this
yeah,
question.
but I can relate that because we do also interact with congregation members, and we have brahmacharis here. Even I go to my family parents, I do interact with them. Just before the class, my father called. I was actually reading, but then I thought that if I don't lift his call, he's calling from Nepal. I thought he will get offended. So for 5 minutes I talked to him. So see, it's not that we should not have any attachments to them. Actually, it is better to have attachment with the devotees than non-devotees. That's the established fact. This is first thing you have to realize.
Yes.
Better to fall in devotional service than falling outside. You may fall in love with some devotee, that's better than falling in love with non-devotees.
Very true.
Then, as this is level 1, level 2. Like Gauram used to say that first Prajalpa with the devotees, then Krishna Katha with the devotees. At least there has to be some relationship with the devotees first of all. Then gradually Krishna Katha can appear. But then there has to, we have to take initiative at one point of time that we now have to do Krishna Katha. We can't be doing So in our beginning days, he used to say that. Now, if I quote the same thing after 15 years also, that will not be valid. If your lifetime you do, only prajalpa with the devotees, then that's not going to take you to Krishna. So at one point of time, you have to realize that in all through our relationships or whatever services we are doing together, when I am trying to chant Hare Krishna or when I am trying to serve the Lord, am I able to do it with pure consciousness? Are you getting my point? I mean,
Yes, Prabhu.
you can relate and you can realize as per your.
I'm able to understand, but I'm thinking with all the impurity in my heart,
How it
how
will
will I
work.
judge? How will I judge? We need somebody who is much higher and superior to me who can actually judge.
Yeah, you can speak to your counselors then. But one thing is very clear, I mean, it's not that you do not know. We all know Krishna is within our heart and he keeps telling us, Prabhu, you are getting, materially attached to this devotee or that devotee. He keeps telling us. We all know it's not that we don't realize and we don't understand. Isn't it, Mataji?
But Prabhu, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just feel that many a times this kind of approach also leads to impersonalism in our
Yeah. So
relationships.
we have to maintain balance. We should not be impersonal, but we have to realize that we are becoming personal with them for what reason? See, again, the same thing. I am again and again telling you in the white class also, I told you that what is the purpose of your association with the devotees? To chant better, to study
Yes,
Bhagavatam better, to serve Krishna better. Is
yes,
that the
yes.
uh, your goal, or is that Prabhu is very or that whatever you have friends, I'm a good friend to him because in his company I feel either Krishna conscious or either it gives good pleasure to my mind or I feel can you relate that or not?
Prabhu, I feel like philosophically, theoretically, it's all so nice, but actually, when we live our life, it gets very complicated.
Yeah, it has to get complicated. Otherwise, otherwise how you will become renounced, right? All
Mm.
relations within this material world, even as a brahmacharis, we relate with each other. But then what happens? Hare, I was expecting, yesterday was my birthday, this Prabhu did not come and wish me. What he thinks himself. So then you are having your relationship in a materialistic way. As long as, see, the thin line is, I mean, the criteria is as long as your sense gratification at the material level is fulfilled by a so and so devotee, if you think he's a good devotee and have good relationship with him, you are in Maya. It's a simple demarcation, actually speaking. But that's so heavy on us to think like that. We may
Mm.
not speak also. In because we all have our different conditionings.
Yes.
And sometimes it may be a need of the mind also. If a husband doesn't talk to a wife, now it's not that husband has to always talk all the Krishna Katha with the wife. If the wife is not at that level, she will get bored actually, and she may feel, what a boring life I have. So our congregation devotee here, Anand Vindan Prabhu.
No, Prabhu.
Yeah, he's a
Sorry.
very senior devotee here from
Yeah.
the beginning days of ISKCON Chapati. So actually, in the beginning days, he and his wife they used to stay in the ashram because very few brahmacharis were there in the somewhere 90 to 93. So they were staying here doing few brahmacharis were there. 4 or 5 brahmacharis. They also used to stay in one section. They would do deity cooking for the deities, and most of the time they would stay here. And Prabhuji would go to the office from here. His office was very nearby. So then one day Maharaj called him and said, Prabhu, sometime you should take your wife to the Chopati beach. So we have to keep the balance. It's not that, as you said, that we can't become impersonal in the name of, becoming, I am so much dedicated devotee. We can't become like that. But at the same time, we, over a period of time, we have to maintain our Krishna consciousness also, right? Because Maharaj said you have to go to the chopati. Every day I am going to chopati now. I'm all the time with my wife only. So actually, in one somewhere in conversation, Leela, I read Prabhupada used to say that, are you, one devotee, you were saying something, some husband wife. So Prabhupada was saying that, are you attached to your wife or are you attached to Krishna? So we may be attached, but do the needful, and we are not just for the sake of getting some things done. We are getting attached, not artificial that I have this service. No, you genuinely feel the affection for them, but understand the goal of our life is both of us have to go together towards Krishna. And as long as the relationship is not helping you towards that, then you have to refine that. I'm not saying that you have to break that or finish that. You have to refine it, understand and realize that we have to become Krishna conscious. We are together because we want to love Krishna. We are together because we want to serve Krishna. We are together because we want to chant Hare Krishna together. Isn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise,
Actually,
yeah.
at every step, we need His mercy.
Yeah. And
So
at the same time we need mercy of the devotees also. Without the association of devotees, how you will chant?
Of course.
And at the same time, in the association of devotees, you are not supposed to get materially attached. So that's why.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
If association of devotees से हमारा अगर भक्ति लता बीज अच्छे से बढ़ता है तो फिर वो मटेरियलिस्टिक नहीं रहेगा ना प्रभु जी?
Obviously नहीं रहेगा. If you develop intense love for Krishna, association of devotees, that is a proof that everybody is contributing towards your Krishna consciousness.
प्रभु जी, अगर एसोसिएशन ऑफ डिवोटीज से हमारी स्टडी लेवल बढ़ता है, अगर हम जो पढ़ाई अभी जो स्क्रिप्चर्स पढ़ते हैं तो वो हमें बहुत ही और ज्यादा हम पढ़ सकते हैं, तो वो भी एक प्रोग्रेशन ही हुआ ना प्रभु जी?
प्रोग्रेस है. See, actually आप बहुत जनरल एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं. I am little bit more talking about relationship of within a Krishna conscious family, like husband and wife is there, or two god brothers are there, two god sisters are there. Those are very closely connected with each other. They are so closely connected that if that person lives Krishna consciousness, I am also living Krishna consciousness. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, it happens.
So that means what? I was attached to them materially. I was not attached to Krishna. I was attached to them.
Yeah, even with Prabhupada's disciples, it happened when Prabhupada left his physical body.
Yes. So we should not be attached materially. We should be attached completely spiritually.
It's like razor edge walking,
Razor edge walking.
Very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. At the same time, Krishna's mercy is always available. Mahaprabhu is very merciful. Prabhupada is even more merciful.
Yes.
We may commit mistakes. See, actually, we are what? We are the bundle of mistakes only.
Very true.
So, though we may be hearing so much, but still we will commit mistakes. Still we will fall. But then again, we have to rise and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Like what Kuntī Maharani is praying here.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's so enlightening, these prayers.
Yeah, prayers.
My God. Any significance that our Srimad Bhagavatam opens with Kuntī Maharani's prayers? Like there are so many prayers in the subsequent sections, but it opens with Kunti Devi, and she is the, I think, only character in the Vedic history who is asking for miseries. Nobody else asks. She's like, in my knowledge, limited knowledge, I think she's the only character in our Vedic scriptures. And our Bhagavatam is opening with that prayer. Of course, it will be followed by other prayers. Any other significance? I'm just asking, like, out of.
I mean, whatever you said, like that only. And I feel more, that because Bhagavatam begins with Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Parama Nirma Saranam Sadam. All subsidiary religions are there kicked out.
Yes.
So right in the beginning, Kuntī Maharani is pointing out that okay, Pandavas are 1600 devotees. Of course, they are not 1600, they are far, they are pure devotees. But it's not that I am attached to them and their attachment should become obstruction for me to serve you. So they are with me. So see, the best prayer you can offer always to Krishna is that let not any material consciousness come in between me and my Prabhu, or my husband, wife, or my relatives, or the two god brothers, god sisters. We are at best, proper constitutional situation when we are serving together Krishna, just like in the spiritual world, two gopas or two gopis or two sakhis or sakhas or whoever they are serving Krishna together. Their entire service is for what? Just to please Krishna. So if suppose I am a book distributor and somehow my score is just 4 Mahavik today, and the other person's score is 15 Mahavik. So those who are having 15, they will help the one who is having 4 Mahavik score. So Prabhu, you have only 4? Okay, I'll help you. That's called spiritual.
Yes.
Every attempt is to help other devotee to go closer to Krishna, not come closer to me.
Actually, Prabhu, I like, since no hands are up, I'm just sharing.
Yeah.
We have a separate book called The Prayers of Srimati Kuntī Devi. Like it comes in a separate, since you're a book distributor, you must have seen it. So that happened to be my first book with which I
really?
started reading. Yes. And I still remember it had made me so emotional. And till date, every time I hear the prayers, they are so deep and so insightful. I just wonder when that level will come. But at least we have one model to look forward to, one ideal to aspire for.
Yes, and that is Mataji.
Kuntī Devi Maharani. Yes, Prabhu.
So Bhagavatam is beginning with the prayers of some many times we may say men are more philosophically inclined or men are more advanced, but here Bhagavatam begins with the Mataji.
Yes.
So devotee. So even Bhagavatam is so transcendental. The transcendental position of Bhagavatam is exhibited here.
Very true.
That is not pure devotional service is not limited to particular sex or particular caste or particular material designation, something like that.
Very true.
Yes,
And
Hare
we
Krishna.
are grateful that you are taking this section, Prabhu. It's very enlightening. Thank you so much,
Whatever
Prabhu.
service I have, I'm just hearing from few devotees like Maharaj. I'm hearing Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. And
Yes.
just hearing.
I am also addicted to his lectures.
Yes.
Hare
If you want to thank, you may thank him. Maharaj.
Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much, Hare Krishna. So we will meet again tomorrow. And
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhuji, for wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Srila
One
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavad
Srila
Mahaprabhu
Prabhupada ki
ki
jai.
jai. Vancha
Vancha
Jai.
kalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Happy Vaman Dwadashi to all of you.
Yes.
Please
Thank you so much.
have a good feast tomorrow.
Same to you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Tomorrow is
Krishna.
Bhakti Vinod Thakur appearance day, Prabhuji.
Oh, really?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so double, triple, Vaman Dev.
Bhakti Vinod Thakur appearance day tomorrow.
So we can have grand feast at 12 noon.
Double dhamaka.
Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.